All right, so now let's move on and let's get into our second topic, which is, oh wait, I haven't even closed my first topic. Okay, so now we talked the other day about, I don't remember, the other day, meaning probably like a week or two ago, that, well, we've been talking personally for the past, like, I feel like over the past year, we've been going back and forth, all these updates, all these things that's been coming out about Blade. Is it happening? Is it not happening? The reboot is on indefinite hold. Then it's not on indefinite hold. Then Kevin Feige comes out and says one thing, and I just be side on him like, child, why are you lying? Just tell these people that, you know what? We fucked up. We made a mistake. We thought we could just not we could, they did. We prematurely announced this movie, and we weren't ready to push it because it doesn't fit anywhere in the MCU in which direction we wanted to go. Because quiet as it's kept, you could have introduced Blade. Well, y'all did kind of do it during the Eternals. But I feel like once y'all kind of pushed forth the thing that happened with Doctor Strange, the second one, the Multiverse of Madness, that you could have in some sort of way given us credence to a possible Blade film, which I did kind of hint at it in the post credit scene. But now it's like, what's happening? Mahershala Ali done moved on to other movies. He's not getting any younger. He's already in his 50s, and y'all still got him sidelined while everybody else is getting the opportunity to come up to bat. And now we have Thunderbolts coming out next week. We have not Captain America. We have, Captain America came and went like a wet fart. That movie was okay. It was, but I feel like that's not the film that was going to push the MCU forward. Now I feel like Thunderbolts might be able to do it, and I'm hearing great things about the film because I've seen like they did the fan screenings and all that stuff. Kind of upset I didn't get to go, but we have that. Then we have Fantastic Four, and then of course they're starting. I think they started filming Avengers Doomsday already. So we got Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars, and then after that we have and Spider-Man 4, and then after that I think Spider-Man 4 is gonna be in between the Avengers movies. But after that, it's like we don't know what's coming. So it could be like another 10 years before we get another Blade movie. So in my opinion, I think Mahershala Ali, I feel bad that you were locked in for this film, but I don't think it's going to happen with you. I think it's time for them to scrap it. I think it's time for them to go back to the drawing board. I think it's time for them to find a new actor to get up in there, preferably a much younger one. I mean, I would have loved to have seen Mahershala Ali as Blade, but child, he'll be like, by the time we get it on a Blade movie on screen, he'll be Tom Cruise age today, which is 62. So, um, we did mention the whole thing about Delroy Lindo, where he was talking about that at one point. He was a part of it, and it all just went to crap. And now we have a musician who has come out and said that, yeah, he was supposed to come up with the music too, but it fell apart or it fell through. So, despite recent reports that the MCU's reboot was still on track to commence production in the UK at some point later this year, insider Daniel Richmond, as we know as Daniel RPK, claims to have confirmed that Blade has now been put on indefinite hold. Backing up his claim is recording artist slash DJ Flying Lotus, aka Steven Ellison, who has taken to Twitter to reveal that he had signed on to write the music for the project before things fell through, and he does not sound optimistic about the film getting back on track. Now, last that we heard, and this is according to Comic Book Movie, so shout out to them, the latest draft by Eric Pearson, who was the sixth writer to have been assigned to the project after Michael Green, Stacey O.C. Kufur, Michael Starbury, Bo DeMeo, and Nick Pizzolatto had finally satisfied everyone involved. But clearly this isn't the case. Now, apparently the real reason Blade was pushed back is because Marvel is prioritizing multiversal stories to build up to Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. So it may not be a case of the studio struggling to get Blade right and simply bad timing for Ali's Daywalker to make his MCU debut, which is clearly what I said. I said that they made a misstep when Kevin Feige did that whole thing about 6-7 years ago, almost damn 7 years ago, where he brought out all these people and was like, yeah, you're getting a film and you're getting a film and you're getting a film, very Oprah with it. And then brought out Mahershala Ali and we was all excited. Now, 7 years later, we still don't have a Blade movie. So yeah, I feel like they realized that, you know what, maybe it was not a good idea for us to announce all these movies we have coming out. And to me, it's like, yeah, maybe they want to focus on the whole multiverse thing so that way they can use that as a way to introduce supernatural elements into the franchise, particularly X-Men, and then hopefully we can get, because I'm thinking about it now, it's like, how would they introduce vampires into the MCU since y'all are all so hell-bent on multiverse type stuff? So hopefully they do after Secret Wars and everything. We do get, they actually look at Blade and give us a film. I'm disappointed because I love Blade, and I feel like with the success of Sinners, this would be the best time for them to be looking at Blade. Or, I don't know, maybe they're interested in trying to give us a Midnight Suns type of film. Maybe that's what they're looking at also. I don't know. But I feel like let's get Blade first before y'all can even talk about Midnight Suns. More people are familiar with Blade than they are Midnight Suns. And you can introduce the Midnight Suns down the road, maybe in a sequel or something or another. And then you can kind of maybe spin theirs off if it all does well into a series on Disney Plus. So yeah, so as a reminder, Delroy Lindo, remember, he spoke to EW and he said the following. He said, when Marvel came to me, they seemed to be really interested in my input. And in the various conversations I had with producers, the writer, the director at the time, it was all leading to being very inclusive. It was really exciting conceptually, but it was also exciting in terms of the character that was going to form. And then, for whatever reason, it just went off the rails. There was a Marcus Garvey-esque component to this man, to who this man was shaping up to be. I'm not saying that it would have been an out and out Garvey-ite, not that, but just in terms of how this man's philosophy, his ethos, and what was driving him, he was a character who had, very similar to Sinners, created a community, a Black community. He was a character who was the head of the community. So it would have been nice to see that, but maybe that's, at the time, MCU wasn't interested in seeing Blade be that type of powerful Black man. But who knows? Maybe they'll be able to go back to it, especially with the success of Sinners. So hopefully it all happens. I definitely want to see, as I said before, I would love to see Blade on our big screen because, he's a tough, ruthless day walker and someone who has dignity and integrity. And we definitely need a Blade on our big screen and see where they were going to go with that. But as far as Flying Lotus goes, I wasn't really familiar with his music. So I did go and take a listen to it, and it's got this electronic, it's very much synthy electronic type music. So I could definitely see, remember when the first Blade came out and the type of music that was on that soundtrack. That I remember that soundtrack. That was a big one because I remember when that movie first came out, and I love, of course, one of the all-time favorite scenes I think of anybody who's a Blade fan is the bloodbath scene. So when you heard that music, and I think it was Illusion was the name of the song. When you see that scene and that music is playing and everything, and it's like the techno music. And I told you I was a big raver back then. So anytime when it came to that type of music, of course I was gonna go to, whatever record store I was, that I was gonna go to. I think I might have bought that from Virgin. But when I went to the record store and bought the CD. And I wore that damn CD out. Because it was just I was just into that music and everything. So I can only imagine, that was the direction they were going to go into. But I do find it weird that Ruth Carter said that she was working on the costume designer for Sinners, said that she was working on the costumes for Blade before that fell through. So that was 3 people that have spoken out about being a part of the Blade film before it fell through. And she said that it was supposed to kind of have the overall aesthetic, very 1920s, that sort of thing. But if that was going to be the overall look, so then again, I guess that was how many different iterations of Blade did they go through before? Because they said we had so many damn different writers. So what was the overall? Was it going to kind of be this steampunk thing, have this current futurist type look, but the costumes were going to be very much 1930s inspired? But the music was going to have electronic techno type stuff. I'm just wondering because it seemed it's all over the place. You had somebody that's saying the music was going to be this, the costumes was going to be this, and then you hear Delroy Lindo, who was once upon a time supposed to be a part of the movie. I think he was going to be Whistler. who is saying this was what the movie was going to be. So I just hope they get it together. I hope they figure out what needs to be done with this film because, like I've said many a times, I want to see Blade. I want to see a new Blade. I know everybody keeps saying it's not Blade, it's Wesley Snipes. Look, we love Wesley Snipes for what he brought to the first two movies, The Blade and Blade 2. Blade Trinity, not so much. But I love what he brought to the franchise. However, we have to allow other actors to come in and put their own spin on something. Just like y'all, we change up James Bond, we change up all these Batman, Superman, so many different characters, and people bring their own different version of who that character is and what that character represents in those films. We need to allow the same courtesy to our Black superheroes as well, because Wesley Snipes can't play Blade forever. Although I would love to see an Old Man Blade sequel of sorts, so that way he can get his redemption for that travesty that was Blade Trinity. But some people would say he got his, his swan song, and he got his, he got to do his big one in Deadpool and Wolverine. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to the latest on Blade being shelved indefinitely? We've been hearing that going back and forth. I don't think that it's going to be gone forever. I do think that we will visit it, but I just think it's going to be a while before it happens. I'm thinking that maybe we'll hear something after Secret Wars, which comes out in 2027? So I'm thinking maybe 2028, 5 years from now. Is it 5 years from now? Wait. 2025. No, 2028. That's like 3 years. So 3-4 years from now, I would say maybe we'll hear something, and then maybe we'll finally get some good news. They have a script done, and we'll hear who the new actor is, because I really don't think Mahershala Ali is going to be playing him. I think they screwed up. I say give him some money, make him be a producer or an executive producer on the film, so that way he gets a little something, because Kevin Feige done screwed up, and send him on his merry way. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.